Rapper POORSTACY is dead, and the news has sent a shockwave through the music world, leaving fans, friends, and collaborators grappling with the sudden and heartbreaking loss of an artist who still had so much life left to live, so much music left to make, and so many emotions he had never fully expressed out loud. What makes this tragedy even more painful is not just that POORSTACY is gone, but the unsettling possibility that he may have taken his own life. An eerie, chilling thought that has left the people who loved him replaying every recent message, every lyric, every post, trying to understand the pain he might have been silently fighting. POORSTACY, legal name, Carlito Milford, was confirmed dead by the Palm Beach County Medical Examiner, and according to the Boca Raton Police Department, he passed away early Saturday morning in the city. But facts and reports can only tell part of the story. Behind that information is a young artist who had spent the last decade building a career from scratch, pushing through emotional battles while creating a sound that was raw, jagged, and deeply personal. A sound many people connected to because they felt he was giving a voice to emotions they couldn't put into words. THEMSELVESA hotel worker from the Boca Raton location where Pooh had been staying revealed that he was transported to a hospital for a medical emergency Saturday morning. He was the only one hospitalized. That detail alone has sparked countless questions, worries, and theories. What happened in those last moments? What emotional weight was he carrying? Was anyone aware of what he was going through? These questions now haunt fans and the small circle of people who truly knew him. He had been staying at the hotel for 10 days. Not alone, but with a woman and a toddler. That single detail adds another emotional layer to the story, one that people can't stop thinking about. The presence of a child changes the emotional tone completely. It raises the stakes of the heartbreak and leaves a lingering ache in the minds of anyone who hears the story. A child was there, close enough to the life he was living, close enough to the struggles he might have been hiding. And yet, no one else was reported injured. The tragedy belonged to him and him alone, as if he had carried the entire weight of whatever happened silently on his own shoulders. The cause of death has not been publicly confirmed yet, and even officials say it remains unclear. But thousands of people flocking to the comments of his last Instagram post believe he died by suicide. And that belief didn't come from nowhere. Anyone who followed POORSTACY's music, his tone, the themes that wove through his lyrics knew how often he used art to process suffering, loneliness, existential dread, and emotional exhaustion. For those who listened closely, his songs weren't just melodies. They were confessions of a young man walking through life with invisible scars. POORSTACY was part of a generation of artists creating a hybrid sound: emo rap, punk rock, punk rap, metal-influenced vocals, all blending together into something that felt like an emotional purge. He wasn't interested in sounding polished or mainstream. His music had the rough edges of someone who didn't hide his bruises. He carried the energy of an outsider, someone who spent years trying to make sense of the world around him, while pouring everything he felt into his art. And for fans, that rawness is exactly what made him unforgettable. He came from Palm Beach, Florida, a place that shaped his worldview and his voice. His rise wasn't instantaneous. It came through years of work, years of experimenting with sound, years of trying to balance the intensity of his life with the desire to create something meaningful. In an industry filled with artists trying to mimic trends, POORSTACY stood out because he blended genres with a kind of reckless honesty. His voice carried pain, but it also carried defiance. It carried vulnerability, but it also carried rebellion. It was the sound of someone who didn't want to be boxed in musically or emotionally. His accomplishments were impressive, especially for someone only 26. One of his biggest breakthrough moments was being featured on the soundtrack of Bill and Ted Face the Music, which earned a Grammy nomination. That kind of achievement normally signals the beginning of an artist's mainstream breakthrough, but what people often forget about the entertainment industry is that success doesn't silence internal battles. If anything, it sometimes amplifies the pressure, the expectations, the noise inside an artist's mind. POORSTACY also collaborated multiple times with Travis Barker, the legendary drummer known for embracing young talent and helping shape new waves of alternative music. They worked together on 3 songs, and the most notable one was titled Choose Life. The irony of that title is painful, now nearly impossible to ignore. Fans keep replaying it and breaking down the lyrics, searching for clues, hidden meanings, or emotional hints about what he might have been feeling. Travis Barker had a way of bringing out the best in artists, and POORSTACY's collaborations with him showed a version of himself that felt driven, inspired, and full of creative fire. Knowing that this same young artist is now gone makes those songs feel heavier, like echoes of someone trying to hold on to life, even while wrestling with a darkness he didn't show publicly. The truth is, POORSTACY's music often reflected a battle within himself, a war between hope and despair, self-belief and self-doubt, life and the temptations of numbness. Many of his fans related to that because they were going through similar internal conflicts. That's why his death feels so personal to so many people who never even met him. He expressed emotions they were afraid to say out loud. And now that he's gone, people feel like they lost, not just an artist, but a mirror of their own struggles. The online reactions have been overwhelming. On Instagram, comments pour in by the thousands. Some are messages of heartbreak. Others are expressions of guilt or confusion. Many are apologies, people writing things like, "I wish we knew. I'm sorry you were hurting. You meant more to me than you knew." When a young artist dies unexpectedly, especially from suspected suicide, fans often feel like they lost a friend, a voice that understood them, someone who was fighting the same emotional storms. And there is something painfully human about realizing that the songs that helped you survive couldn't help save the person who wrote them. The thought that he may have taken his own life has left people with a feeling of helplessness. Suicide leaves behind a different kind of grief, one filled with unanswered questions, what ifs, and the haunting weight of everything unsaid. People start replaying every memory, every post, every lyric, wondering if there were signs they missed. That emotional unraveling is happening right now across the internet as fans try to process the loss of someone who seemed to be speaking directly to them through his music. But beyond the tragedy, POORSTACY's death also highlights a larger conversation about mental health in the music industry, especially among artists in genres like emo rap, punk rap, and alternative trap. These genres attract artists who turn their trauma into art, who turn their internal darkness into something that helps others feel less alone. But the emotional cost of creating that kind of music is heavy. For many artists, the stage becomes a place to scream pain into microphones. But when the lights turn off, they return to silence, a silence where the loudest battles happen. Fans have noted how many artists from these emotionally intense genres have died young from overdose, self-harm, addiction, or exhaustion. Names like Lil Peep, Juice WRLD, XXXTentacion, and several others have become grim reminders of how fragile life can be for emotionally vulnerable musicians. POORSTACY now joins that heartbreaking list. And while every story is different, the emotional threads often look similar: immense pressure, overwhelming emotions, internal battles, and a deep need to express their pain through music. In the days leading up to his death, POORSTACY posted online, like usual. Nothing seemed obviously alarming to the public. That's the hidden cruelty of mental struggles. They aren't always visible. People can laugh, show up to events, share photos, and seem fine while their internal world is quietly collapsing. The fact that he was at a hotel with a woman and a toddler only adds to the heartbreaking mystery. Was he trying to escape something? Was he trying to work on something privately? Was he searching for peace? No one knows yet.